achievementu, abyste se dostali hnedka co nejdřív na co nejvyšší podlaží, takže rozhodně si dojděte aspoň pro ten kódík. Druhá aktualita je, že ačkoliv jsem poslední měsíc a půl teasoval, že bych mohl jít hrát na EU4 a
Not long ago, a shipment of silver was stolen from our guard tower. It was meant as payroll to the Crossroads guards, and we want that silver back. The strange thing is, we caught one of the thieves on the night of the theft, and it was a raptor. Unbelievable. I don't know what raptors would want with silver, but I don't care. I want the raptors dead so they won't steal from us again. Hunt raptors in the Barrens. Collect for me their heads.
The venture company set up a small research facility far to the north of here, southwest of the Sludge Fen. I don't know very much about what they're doing, but did manage to discover that they're experimenting with something called a samouflange. Well, whatever it is, I want to examine it, so I need someone to go get it. I obtained a copy of their control system.
I sure wish Vice Admiral Greslick did a better job of keeping the seas safe for our trading vessels. With all the gold the trade princes have poured into the trade fleets, it ticks me off to see so many pirates running willy-nilly, raiding my ships and stealing my goods. I heard that the South Sea freebooters have set up a camp just south of here. They've been a real thorn in my side, and if Greslick won't take care of them, well, maybe you can help me get rid of them.
Would you like a taste of Chen's namesake? Oh, the Storm Stout is a mighty brew. Chen taught the recipe to my mentor, and my mentor passed it on to me. I'll need you to get me a few things, but I can tell you this. The kid is worth it.
Bring me 5 Savannah Lion tusks from any Savannah Lion, 5 Plain Strider kidneys from any Plain Strider, and 1 Thunder Lizard horn from any species of Thunder Lizard. That should do the trick nicely. You can find these ingredients throughout the Barrens.
The blasted harpies have been ravaging our caravan supplies for too long. It's time we slit a few of their throats and diminished their numbers. I've been snooping around their nests and figured out who leads who. The most devastating attack will destroy a good section of their lower chain of command, and then we can work our way to the top. I'll start you off slow. Take out Witchwing harpies and Witchwing rogue feathers in the northwest, and bring me 8 Witchwing talons. That should be a good start.
Now it's time to go after something that really bites. The Prowlers of the Barrens are a tough breed. Tough, resourceful, sly, and deadly. You'll find them among the tall grasses. You'll find many to the southwest of the crossroads. Be wary as you hunt them, adventurer, or you may find yourself no longer the predator, but instead the prey.
Like the one you found at the Forgotten Pool, there may be fissures at the other oases in the Barrens. If so, then perhaps the fissures are the oases' source of life. We must test this. Here, take these seeds. They are dead and infertile, but take them to the stagnant oasis to the southeast. If there is a fissure there, then place the seeds within it and observe.
The raptors of the Barrens are smarter than raptors in other lands. And I think all that smarts is hiding in their horns. If so, then I could grind their horns into powder and use it to make smart drinks. I could sell them for a fortune. And you can help me. Find me intact raptor horns from Sunscale Scytheclaws. They roam in the southern Barrens and in the northern Barrens near the border of Ashenvale Forest.
Need more rage.
Beneath the city of Orgrimmar, stout creatures known as Trogs started coming to the surface from deep below the lava-filled tunnels. In her ever-benevolence, Magatha sought to make peace with the creatures, but they turned on her diplomats, killing them. She will not... Beneath the... Beneath the city of Orgrimmar, stout creatures known as Trogs started coming to the surface from deep below the lava-filled tunnels. In her ever-benevolence, Magatha sought to make peace with the creatures, but they turned on her diplomats, killing them. She will not allow such treatment of the Tauren people, and now consider the creatures a threat to all of the Horde. She asks that you put an end to this Trog threat, before it overwhelms the Horde from below. Find Ragefire Chasm, and destroy them all. You find a satchel under the body of the Tauren. It is still gripped tightly in his arms as though he was trying to protect it while being attacked by the Trogs. Removing the satchel from his vice-like grip, you stow it with your own equipment and prepare to make your way out of the tunnels and back to Rahauro in Thunderbluff.
The wolf hearts you acquired possess a quality unseen in similar specimens. There is a toxicity to them that should be deadly to the very wolves in which the hearts beat. It's quite incredible, and we must study it further. I kept a few samples of the hearts acquired. Take them to my colleague, Apothecary Zing. You will find her in our headquarters in the Undercity.
Oops! Had a little mishap, as you can see. The morning cargo shipment from Booty Bay was huge. Huge, I say. Never seen so many crates. Well, I was trying to expedite things, so I started unloading a bit more than I could handle. That's when everything came tumbling down. Before I knew what was going on, I saw that menace, Mad Maglish, go running off with a bottle of 99-year-old port. Chased him all the way to Wailing Caverns. No way I was going in there. Maybe you're brave enough to find him?
human infestation once and for all. My studies have proven that spider blood combined with a toxin derived from a grizzled bear heart results in a deadly elixir. Collect samples from the spiders in the skittering dark to the northwest, and from the bears wandering throughout the Silverpine Forest. Deliver the reagents to Master Apothecary Farinell of the Royal Apothecary Society in the Undercity.
It will indeed take me longer than I had thought to uncover the dark secrets behind the enchantments Arugul was using. But in the meantime, I need you to take care of a slight problem our dark stalkers have discovered. It seems that Arugul let his magic spread to the Deep Elam mine in the hills to the southeast. The mine would prove to be quite a resource for Varimathras' advance. I want you to behead the tainted foreman of the mine, Grimson the Pale. With his death, the mine shall be ours. Dalar is attempting to locate the source of the wizard's spellcasting. For now, we'll have to slow their progress in any way we can. The conjurers, mages, and protectors are no doubt carrying the pendants. Remove and retrieve them. Take the main road south and the eastern fork into Ambermill.
Need more rage. Not enough rage. I can't do that.
You did good, kid. A little more work like that, and it'll be one less thing I'll have to worry about. Hopefully, they'll be convinced that they should relocate their operation elsewhere. In the meantime, there is the small matter of getting back the goods they stole from me. I've been waiting forever for my last shipment of goods from Booty Bay. I'm pretty sure that it must have been stolen by the freebooters. But just to make sure, will you go down to the dockside and ask Dizzywig if my goods were already put into my warehouse without my knowledge? Here, take my ledger down to Dizzywig and have him double-check my inventory records against his logs. Ah, that sort of business. You know, I saw the Heedless once on the open seas. Fearsome ship, or was that boat? Those sailors are so particular. Anyways, watching her glide across the water was quite a sight to see. I'm glad her infamous captain will trouble my ships no longer. small enough crate. Yes, I should be able to find room for this aboard the ship. It sails with the next tide. I trust this is soon enough. Excellent. Let me just enter it into my ledger. All taken care of. Good day to you, adventurer. Gazlo sent you. Did he? Just a moment. Let me take a look here and check my own logs and make sure I didn't have Gazlo's shipment sent to the wrong place. Bet he's waiting for those boots from Drizzlick. Everything looks square from my records, adventurer. Go on back and tell Gazlo he's out of luck. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the pirates that nabbed his goodies. Nothing else I can do for him. Though you could tell him that I've got some things from Undermine for him when he has the time to come pick them up. Being wharf master of a busy port like Ratchet, I keep my finger on the pulse of information. I know all about the exchange of goods and money between here and Booty Bay. The latest bit of news I've heard is about the Venture Company's Boulder Lode mine northeast of the Sludge Fen. One of the miners discovered an emerald the size of your fist. I know a few buyers who'd be interested in getting their hands on something like that, and I'd be willing to go half and half on its sale.
Talk to me! Hurry back!
Well, no dice, eh? I guess it must have been the freebooters then. Dizzywig's on the level. I'm sure he wouldn't cheat me like that. After all, he is on the payroll. Looks like I've got some goods to get back, adventurer. What do you say? While I'd like to recover all my goods, I'm sure that's not possible. Still, there's a few things that I absolutely must have. As you see, my observatory is ready to go, but it needs the smaller of the two lenses. The first arrived by caravan from Duratar, but the second was bound by ship and never arrived. Also, I never got my boot shipment from Drizzlick in Booty Bay. Head down to the pirate camp and see if you can find them.
Time is money, friend!
Time is money, friend.
Wind Riders are trained to fly quickly through the hot Baron's air.
We have our duties, adventurer. Duties to the Horde. The Kolkar are a threat to the Horde's claims in the Barrens. We must reduce the numbers of their troops, and so I have a bounty task for you. While in Kolkar territories, slay their warriors and collect centaur bracers. Return when you have a heap of bracers, and the Horde will reward you well.
The centaurs have plagued the Tauren for years, and recently the Kolkar centaurs of the Barrens have grown into a real threat. Normally they were disorganized in these lands, but new leaders have risen among them, rallying them. To preserve our holdings here, these centaur leaders must be destroyed. Bring me the head of Barak Kodaban. He camps near the Forgotten Pools to the north. Defeat him, then return to me.
Not enough rage.
had 3 betas, and some of us will be getting early access. The demand for this game is astronomical, and that demand will not be letting up anytime soon. Everyone is going to play this game. Will everyone like it? That's a question for another day. But there is no debate that this game will be so addictive, it might just ruin your life. Let's dive into the reasons why. Diablo 4 is very likely to become the most widely accessible ARPG ever made. It will also be the most heavily marketed ARPG ever made. And it will also be made by a company that possesses one of the very few household names, Blizzard. Now, the Blizzard name has obviously taken a hit over the last couple of years, and in every way, it is deserved. But they are still one of the most iconic and successful developers in the industry. And to this day, they have massive fan bases across a wide range of their games. And as consumers, brand loyalty, or in this case, brand familiarity, is integral in the attraction of new products. With the release of Diablo 4, Blizzard can rely on the pre-existing public consumption of their other games to bring traffic over to Diablo 4, rather than relying solely on selling Diablo 4 to new audiences. If that wasn't enough, Blizzard have decided to make this one of the most casual-friendly ARPGs ever made, which, with the existence of an already strong and excited fan base, will easily bring over new players anyway. Which brings me to my first reason as to why this game will be so addictive: popularity. When a game has a high popularity rating, even if that game is objectively bad, it is a strong indicator that the people playing that game are taking value from it. If you are then not interacting with a game that supposedly delivers value to players, then you are missing out. The fear of missing out is what drives player traffic to your game. That's why new content is always delivered in waves. Hypothetically, Blizzard could release all the raids for WoW at once, for example, and let the player play them in the proper order. But by phasing the content out across a period of time, it builds anticipation. And when that new content releases, if you don't interact with it soon after its release, you feel like you have missed out. And usually, the intensity of that feeling will be higher than the gratification you feel after completing the content anyway.
I know you're not following what I'm saying anyway, right? That's okay. That doesn't matter.
What does matter is what people are playing. And mark my words, people will be playing Diablo 4. And they will continue playing it. Or they will miss out on what? Seasonal content. And that's the second reason this game will become your next addiction: seasonal content. Blizzard are practically promising us a high every season, but they are not obligated to deliver it. They could, but we have to play it to find out, don't we? Blizzard, therefore, are aiming to edge us all on a consistent basis. As Diablo 4 is already part of a much-beloved franchise, there is already built-in incentive to stay dedicated to the game in hopes that the grass is greener on the other side. And that hope is what is going to keep us addicted. Seasonal content will ensure that the player base's opinion of the game will be time sensitive and refreshed constantly. The player base, as a result, will not be able to voice a uniform opinion about the game because they all have different tastes and desires. Therefore, some players will be satisfied and some will be disappointed. Let's talk about the gameplay itself. Diablo 4, on paper, will possibly be one of the most well-made ARPGs ever. The game's graphics are stunning, the gameplay itself is fast and punchy, and there is such a diverse lineup of enemies and playstyles for people to enjoy. It even includes a subscribe button. How about that? All of these features are delivered in a package that is extremely friendly to a casual player base. And that right there is the third reason this game will be so addictive. Diablo 4, straight off the bat, will cater to a massive audience. That audience will be varied, dedicated, and opinionated. Part of that massive audience, a substantial part actually, will be casual. They will jump in and out of playing the game, and most of their judgments on the game will be reactionary and surface level. The true depths of this game's systems and gameplay will only be analysed and critiqued by more hardcore players. Diablo 4 being a casual-friendly game will inherently make it more addictive to a wider portion of consumers. Path of Exile, for example, is an intensely addictive game, only once you understand the full scope of its endgame features and systems. For a casual player, Path of Exile is not addictive, as the hit of dopamine only comes with a significant time and effort investment.
You know what? I'm good.
I don't fancy learning this.
Casual players for Diablo 4, on the other hand, have more avenues to succumb to addiction. The fundamental gameplay mechanics at all levels are objectively more interesting than Path of Exile. Coming home from work and wanting to wind down with a level 23 barbarian is a way more appealing and even rewarding prospect than grinding your way to endgame like most other ARPGs, as the endgame is the only interesting part of those other ARPGs. Diablo 4 fulfills a wider breadth of criteria for casual players. Moment-to-moment gameplay is more engaging, it is more visually pleasing, it is more narratively interesting, and above all, it is more intuitive and easier to grasp. When the promise of dopamine hits are therefore more accessible, that makes it inherently more tempting for a casual audience, and it is then effortless to become addicted. The fourth reason this game will be so addictive is because of the Blizzard infrastructure. Blizzard have had an extremely good track record of keeping games alive.
Apparently not.
WoW is still going incredibly strong, especially with the return of Classic. Overwatch is still one of the most played first-person shooters out there, and even Hearthstone is immensely popular still. Once Blizzard release a game, they invest most of their energy in ensuring its long-term success. The way they do that is by investing a lot of their time and energy in receiving feedback from fans and acting upon that feedback to fix certain problems or enhance certain features to keep their fans attached to their games. Now, you can debate whether they're good at this or not.
Now we know the answer to that, do we not?
But the point is, the infrastructure is there. The dialogue between fans and developers will be crucial in keeping the game alive. If you're addicted to a game, but then the game feels like it's on a downward trend, unless you have reason to believe it will get better, you are more likely to abandon that game. So far, Blizzard have left no indication that they aren't invested in Diablo 4's future.
Thank you, Jesus!
Quite the opposite. If you become addicted to Diablo 4 and you listen to developers saying it could get even better, why would you abandon that addiction? That's like being addicted to heroin, but soon it'll come with a built-in blowjob. Crude as that may sound, it is not as crude as some particular Blizzard employees themselves, and they are now desperate as a result. Blizzard have always been invested in their games, but Diablo 4 may be the most critical release in their history, and so there is more intention behind their investment. Their reputation is at an all-time low. Their fan support is at an all-time low. I'm sure that their own developers' confidence is at an all-time low. Diablo 4 needs to be a hit, and a big one. And it needs to retain a player base and keep them addicted. The only way to truly do that is to engage with the fans in the most transparent way possible. So far, the developers have done that extremely well.
The
and they
Centaur
deserve to
are
be
low,
commended for
brutish
it.
creatures,
Multiple
but a
developer
few have the
live
wit
streams,
and vision to
multiple
lead,
public
and those
betas,
are the most... Well done, adventurer. The Centaur are low, brutish creatures, but a few have the wit and vision to lead, and those are the most dangerous. Barak was such a centaur, it is good that he is dead.
The centaur Verog the Dervish wanders the barrens and will be difficult to find, but he is based at the Centaur command tent at the stagnant oasis to the southeast. It may be possible to draw him to you. Travel to the stagnant oasis to the southeast and attack Centaur near the command tent. It will be dangerous. The centaur Verog the Dervish wanders the barrens and will be difficult to find, but he is based at the Centaur command tent at the stagnant oasis to the southeast. It may be possible to draw him to you. Travel to the stagnant oasis to the southeast and attack Centaur near the command tent. It will be dangerous, but if you can kill enough Centaur, then they should raise an alarm, and Virog will come. Bring me his head, and I will place it with Barak Kodobanes.
Views, inclusion of prominent content creators. It not only keeps your fans aware of the process, but keeps your community passionate. Opening that dialogue early and in-depth creates a line of communication that also allows for the freedom of critique. For the fans, this not only allows them to feel good about playing the game, but making the game the best it could possibly be alongside the developers. So you don't only get addicted to the game, but the improvement process of the game. So now we come to the fifth and final reason this game will be your next unhealthy addiction. just gonna be a damn good game. Throughout practically all of the betas, Blizzard have been showered with universal praise. In all foundational aspects of the game, Blizzard seem to have a strong grasp on what players want and how they want it. With systems they don't want, the cash shop for example, they have integrated it in a way that, by first impressions, are not predatory to the game's integrity. There doesn't seem to be an outlying system that will harm the game. The atmosphere in Diablo 4 is phenomenal. The world is dark, bloody, and moody. The music is foreboding. The environments are immersive, beautiful, haunting. The graphics are stunning. The cutscenes, which I could talk about for days on end, are incredible. The fact that they include your character is insane. The sound design is wildly compelling. But the gameplay, the core combat at the heart of it all, is so much fun. All the classes feel great. Some are undertuned, some are overtuned. I do not care. Tuning should never ever be a consideration when it comes to determining fun. Some classes play like gods one week and a mere mortal the next. The betas proved that, but the moment-to-moment gameplay, the skills, the effects, the feedback, it's just simply awesome. The only thing we haven't experienced so far is the endgame. And sure, you could worry about that, but Blizzard won't. Blizzard, in some ways, practically invented the idea of endgame, or at least popularized it. People have been playing WoW endgame for almost 20 years at this point. They do not always get it right, that's true. But with Diablo 4, they have to. If they get it wrong, it could prove disaster. But how could they? Diablo 4 isn't even out yet, and it's more popular than Path of Exile, Last Epoch, Grim Dawn. Blizzard are addicted to creating a positive future for Diablo 4. And guess what? You bought the more expensive version so you could play it a few days earlier. Mate, you're already addicted, you stupid mother...
Big YouTuber loses everything.
Hey, yo, what up? It's your boy. Imagine that for 4 entire years, over 1,000 days of your life, you spend dedicating yourself to perfect this one true passion that you have. The one thing that makes you incredibly happy and in turn makes everybody else really happy as well. There's nothing but a positive. You get to be at your creative peak while at the same time making things that you enjoy and other people enjoy as well. Now imagine then that some mysterious unknown entity comes along and rips that all away from you while you're asleep. Only for you to wake up the next day to find out that that thing that you've been working on for 4 painstaking years of your life has just disappeared in an instant. Well, that's what unfortunately happened to this Japanese YouTuber with over 1.3 million subscribers. This is Saito Naoki-sensei, who, for those of you who don't know, is not just a reputable YouTuber who has made some really creative, cool, fun projects in the past 4 years, but is also a really reputable illustrator. So reputable, in fact, that he has his own Wikipedia account, which I will very quickly read, but he is a regular contributing artist for
he did like, look, he's fucking Pokemon. Holy shit.
Duel Masters trading card game, the Pokemon trading card game, and Hatsune Miku merchandise. He's also the main illustrator and character designer for the game Dragalia Lost, and as a manga artist, he wrote and illustrated a spin-off of the Grappler Baki series. Essentially, this guy is the real deal, and I've actually stumbled upon a couple of his videos in the past. He had made a couple of videos of him kind of putting in his 2 cents as a professional illustrator to, you know, look at other people's art, look at other famous artworks out there and being like, okay, so here's how you can improve on your art, you know, but it done in not so much like not in like a commentary or like critical way, but in like a really wholesome way of like, this is how I make my art process and this is the things that you can learn from me. But just the other day, he woke up to his main channel with, again, over 1.3 million subscribers just completely gone in an instant. And to this day, him and his audience and everybody who stumbled upon this tweet, which currently has 7.4 million views on Japanese Twitter, has no idea why his channel disappeared. So he actually went on to his second channel, Saito Naoki 2, which I will leave in the description below because, you know, by the end of this video, hopefully you'll feel really freaking sorry for this guy, as did I when I looked into this story, to basically do a short little live stream, about a 53-minute live stream, basically telling his audience, hey, so, my channel just, like, kind of vanished. It got terminated overnight. And I have no idea why it was the case.
And what's so weird to me about this, too, is the fact that it was streamed 2 days ago. So if this was intentional by YouTube, YouTube bans people for ban evasion. So how is it that his main channel got banned, but he was able to stream on his second channel, and that's not banned? So this seems even more confusing. What the fuck is going on here?
Smiling in this live stream right now, but at the beginning of the live stream, he was basically saying, hey, you know, I might be smiling now, but when I found out that morning that the thing that I've been working on for 4 painstaking years of my life as a side project to my current occupation of being a professional illustrator had just vanished overnight is just like, yeah, it broke him. And as a fellow content creator, I would be pretty freaking devastated as well if that happened to me. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Joey, how did this happen? Was there an explanation? Did he get his channel back? Well, let me do a quick little run through of what he explained in this live stream right here, which, you know, as of right now doesn't have any English translation, so hopefully I'll be able to be the bridge between the gap of you English speakers and the Japanese audience. Essentially, to this day, about a week after his channel got terminated, he still has no idea why it got terminated. But
that's crazy.
He does have some clues as to how it might have got his whole channel terminated. For one, when he received the email, usually, for those of you who don't know, when you get a strike on your channel, or you get email any kind of termination emails, which is already makes my heart rate increase just thinking about potentially getting one, because that is a fear that all YouTubers have to live with every single goddamn day, because YouTube is the type of platform that loves to set rules and then changes rules without telling their creators and expects their creators to keep up. But essentially, when
also, I mean, the worst part about it is that the rules are applied retroactively. Like, you can do something that's fine, and then 3 or 5 years later, YouTube can change the rules and then retroactively punish you for something that you did back then.
Get your channel terminated, for the most part, YouTube gives you a reason that they have formulated. And the reason for Saito Naoki Sensei's termination of his YouTube channel is that supposedly he broke rules concerning violent or sexual depictions of children. Now, hold on. You don't run into the conclusion of, oh, again, it's another like manga artist, Japanese illustrator that is drawing CP, blah, 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 blah. Right. No, because this time it's very different. Mind you, this is a guy who does professional illustrations for Hatsune Miku merchandise and Pokemon card trading game. Do you think that an illustrator like that is dumb enough to draw things that depict children in explicit ways? No, of course.
Probably not on YouTube, I'll tell you that for fucking sure. Seems very unlikely.
It's not. In fact, in the live stream, Saito Sensei actually thoroughly explained as to how careful he actually was in the depiction of his illustrations on YouTube. He actually puts it very beautifully. Essentially, he said along the lines of, I understand that as a Japanese artist, the character designs and the general anime aesthetic that is drawn is not necessarily to the same standards as Western illustrations, in the sense that a lot of characters in the anime style drawing is usually depicted a lot younger just based on the kawaii aesthetic. And if you've watched enough anime, you've read enough manga, you've seen enough Japanese illustrations, you know, that is a point that, yeah, is pretty true. Just because the character looks cute and is depicted perhaps a little bit younger, that doesn't necessarily mean that the character itself is young. Now, granted, yes, there are artists out there who do draw that kind of stuff, but
I think that if you're drawing a character, like a real-life character, or sorry, like, no, obviously not a real-life character, but like if you're drawing a character that somebody would look at this person and say, this is a fucking 8-year-old girl, I don't care if you tell me it's actually a 700-year-old dragon. That's an 8-year-old girl. That's it. So I don't really think the lore of it makes it okay. I don't think the logic in that like really tracks. But I'd want to see like what the evidence of this really is, because I don't think that having characters in anime that are underage this is not a fucking self-report. That's insane. Like I feel like the more that and there's also a lot of people that are like they don't like anime. And I think that the best comparison that I could make to this is like furries. So some people think furries just like buy a dog to have sex with the dog constantly. People that are into furries, there are like a small subset of people that are like that, but the majority of furries are into anthropomorphic humans that have fur on them. Okay? So I think in the same way, people oversimplify being a furry. I think also people that don't, because they don't like being a furry, I think they also oversimplify having underage characters and like these girls in anime. I think they also undersimplify it where anytime that you see one of these girls that looks like she could be young, then it's automatically like lolly stuff, which is not really true. And I think that it is intentionally, the reason why I think it's problematic is that it is intentionally simplistic, and it is intentionally simplistic in a way that actually hurts people being able to be aware of the actual bad stuff that's out there, because you're muddying the waters. You're overcomplicating things. You're like basically creating a bunch of false positives of things that aren't really happening, but you're saying they're happening because you don't like the medium, if that makes sense. You see kind of where I'm getting at here? Is like if it's a boy who cried wolf, like, oh, wolf, wolf, wolf. People see that, that's not what's going on, and then that's it. So Marvel's Eternals also had a 5,000-year-old child. You guys are too insecure about the medium that depicts children. Well, what I'm saying is that it doesn't. So it's not about. You're right. I missed I actually could have said that better. You're actually right about that. It's not about having a 8-year-old girl that looks like an 8-year-old girl that's actually a 700-year-old dragon. It's about having that character that also does sexual and explicit things. If the character just exists in the story, then it's not a problem. Like, that's it. It's just simply not a problem. So it's if they're being sexualized. And I don't think that a defense of sexualizing characters that look like children is that they actually have a different lore age in the story. Does that make sense? But usually they are sexualized. I think actually usually they're not. Like in like I would say 90% of circumstances, they're really kind of not. I remember people like whenever VTubing became really popular, people were saying like, oh, well, VTubing has a bunch of like this weird, like fucking, like that weird shit in it. And like I looked into it and it's like, yeah, there's a few, but like this is like the vast minority. It's the same thing with like Lalafell stuff in Final Fantasy. The majority of Lalafels aren't freaks. They're not weirdos. They're not pedos or something like that. It's insane. So I think it's a deliberate oversimplification because people don't like what the medium is fundamentally. Yeah, I don't know. So that's my opinion on that kind of stuff. Sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent. But yeah, I think that's it, like, I mean, obviously I wouldn't have any other opinion, but I feel like any other opinion besides that is fucking insane. Like one way or another.
They're also not running a YouTube channel and getting jobs from the Pokemon Company and Hatsune Miku. So let's put that to the side for a second and say that this illustrator right here is pretty innocent when it comes to the things that he draws. And he explained in this live stream that because I do understand the cultural differences of maybe my artwork getting the wrong impression with the Western audience, and especially with YouTube, that is a Western company, he, in his videos, was always very, very careful with how he would go about drawing in his videos. So much so to the point where he actually gave an example of how he actually changes the drawing order that he does of characters to his usual stuff, in the sense that, I mean, I'm not an artist myself, so I don't know how different this might actually be. You know, artists watching this video, you can let me know down in the comments below. But essentially, he was so careful in the way that he was drawing in his videos to the point where he would actually not draw the skin tone first in case the overabundance of the skin tone would set off red flags in the YouTube algorithm. So what he would actually do in the coloring process is that he would actually color in the clothes first and then the skin last. So clearly this guy is fully understanding of just how broken.
That's smart. Yeah. I had no idea, but I guess if you're an animator and you do this kind of stuff, you would learn that. By the way, why does the skin tone of something change how it's being promoted in the algorithm? That seems really bad.
Automated and all-encompassing the YouTube algorithm is when it comes to depicting that kind of stuff and to detecting, oh, there's too much skin tone in this video, so it must be something sexual, which is obviously bullshit. But then he brings on an interesting hypothesis. When he went to go check the existence of his unfortunately now gone main YouTube channel, he also noticed that the Google Drive account that was linked with the email that he created his main YouTube channel on was also terminated. Not only that, it was terminated for the exact same reasonings that YouTube gave for his main YouTube channel. And so looking at that, he created this hypothesis as to why YouTube might have deleted his channel, in the sense that Google Drive's terms of service is very similar to that of things like Google Photo, Gmail, and YouTube, obviously, because it's all owned under Google. For those of you who have never made a YouTube channel before, basically, whenever you make a Google email account, which you then use to create a YouTube account, naturally, along with it, you get all sorts of other additions, including a Google Drive account. What he did as a previous segment on his main YouTube channel was that he would actually open up his Google Drive account for audience participation-based videos, in the sense that audiences who watched his videos could go onto his Google Drive account and essentially put up their own artwork for audiences to share, basically as like a file sharing service for his audience to look at other viewers' art and go, hey, that's some pretty cool artwork, and for him himself to collect artwork.
I mean, that definitely is a horrible idea. Like, absolutely horrible idea. Like, you know, you go to bed and you wake up and it's full of ISIS execution videos. Absolutely. And that's to say the least. Who's to say that's what happened, though? Let's go ahead and finish it.
From audiences to then turn into YouTube videos. So the hypothesis that he brings up is a really interesting one, and is one that I've never really heard of up until now, is that he reckons that there must have been a couple of viewers who unfortunately put up some artwork that might have set off the Google algorithm into looking at it and going, yo, that is some CP. That's depictions of children that is not cool on our service linked to this particular Google email.
And that's a fair assumption to make, that could have happened.
Which is then linked to this particular YouTube
that could have
channel.
happened.
And so with the possible breaking of terms of service of Google Drive, that then caused a chain reaction for not only his Google Drive to get terminated, but also his email to get terminated, which then turned his YouTube channel to be terminated as well. I've seen and heard a lot of examples of YouTube channels getting terminated for breaking terms of service, whether it's intentionally or accidentally, but I have never, in my 10 years of making content, never heard of a case of a YouTube channel with over 1.3 million subscribers getting terminated manually. And this was not by accident, by the way. Apparently, he contacted his YouTube partner and they actually confirmed that, yes, it was actually manually deleted because of the breaking of the terms of service, supposedly.
But then why is he able to stream on the second account? Because YouTube also bans ban evasion. So, like, what's the logic in that? So if the YouTube channel is terminated for breaking terms of service, then why is he able to have a second YouTube channel? It doesn't make any sense.
I've never heard of a YouTube channel getting manually terminated because somebody or something broke the terms of service in Google Drive that was connected to the email of the YouTube account. Like that's some like fucked up domino effect thing that I didn't think was possible. And granted, this is just a hypothesis, but considering that he was very, very careful on his actual YouTube channel and the contents he would put up on his YouTube channel, and that he is also an artist with a giant reputation working with the likes of the Pokemon Company and Hatsune Miku, he's smart enough to not purposely break the terms of service in that sense. And he explained that in this live stream, and his audience who was watching live at the time were like, okay, that makes a lot of sense, but it's also some bullshit. Because supposedly there is a true culprit out there, or maybe a number of true culprits out there, whether intentionally or accidentally, uploaded some artwork onto his Google Drive account, which unfortunately Google
There's no way Google doesn't have IP tracking for people uploading photos.
Need more rage.
Like if Google went and they said, no, we don't track IPs for people that upload photos to Google Drive, I would say you are fucking lying. That is insane. So it seems like it would be easy for them to figure out who uploaded this photo and why they did it. Or not why they did it, but like figure out if it was this guy or not. It seems very simple.
That and went, hey, that is that is
never hard to get around. Well, what I'm saying is that it's not about finding out who the person is, but it's about finding out that it's not this person. Does that make sense? So like yeah, they might not be able to find out like, oh yeah, this person did, like they're not gonna like, oh, it was, you know, fucking Phil in Philadelphia. Oh man, this guy does it all the time. No, but they would be able to figure out it's not this dude in Japan.
Logo, my friend, that is a breaking of the terms of service. You will not even get a warning. You will just be completely shut down right then and there. No repercussions, no chance of getting your Google Drive account back, nor getting your YouTube channel back, which is just like a nightmare for any content creator. Like, could you imagine this thing that you've been working on for over 1,000 days of your life just vanishes because some unknown person uploaded artwork to your Google Drive account? Isn't that...
And also keep in mind, this is a hypothesis. This is not confirmed. It's not certain. This is just what he thinks happened.
Isn't that fucked up? That's like you losing your job because somebody sent you a text message that was a bomb threat in a joking manner. Like it's that far.
Actually, no, I won't tell that story.
Fetch. Like it is nothing to do with you. It was completely out of your control, and it wasn't even serious, and yet everything you worked up till that point is just gone because of that. And after I saw this live stream, as you can see, I was you know, watching it over again just to make sure that I got all the facts in this video correct. After watching through this live stream again, it was like really freaking depressing. YouTube in 2023, even after all of these algorithm changes and all of this like fail safes to make sure that content creators are safe as long as they follow the rules that YouTube set and that they won't get their shit terminated accidentally or intentionally, just then suddenly pull this shit out of nowhere is really terrifying and very frustrating. Because again, this guy is an incredibly reputable artist who is
got
completely
500,000
innocent.
followers.
He has almost 500,000 followers on Twitter.
That's
and
a lot.
just does some really cool videos like these, for example. How could you look at this and being like, oh yeah, that's definitely violent depictions of children right there.
No, it's
like
not.
how could you I don't understand where the bar is. He did artwork for an official Pokemon card, and he's done this for many years now. So it's just insane that someone who is, on all, you know, intents and purposes, innocent, just suddenly get the belt from YouTube because of something that he had no control over. It's just really freaking sad. So in the meantime, I
think that there's a certain amount of common sense that needs to be applied to situations like this.
Leave the link to his second channel here down in the description below because he's just a really cool artist who was just making and trying to make all sorts of really cool videos. And luckily, he said that he had backed up all of his main channel videos, so I guess he's going to start uploading them onto this backup second channel that he only
makes no fucking sense to me. That's the weirdest thing about it.
Created because his main channel disappeared. Like he basically had to start this new channel from 0 subscribers, and luckily because of the controversy that this has created, he's already at 70,000 subscribers, which is fucking great. I'm super happy for him. But this is a big reason why you see a lot of YouTube channels like me, for example, have second channels like the one you're currently on right now. It's because we constantly are living in this fear of what if we accidentally anger the YouTube gods, and all the stuff that we worked on for a big portion of our life just disappears like that, and then there's nothing we can do about it. It is honestly terrifying. And honestly, if you are a fan of a YouTube channel, you know, regardless of how big or small they are, and they have a second channel like what I have currently right now, I implore you to go and follow them on their second channels as well, because stuff like this could happen to anyone. So yeah, really unfortunate news. YouTube just being dumbasses again, as they always have been, and I hope Saito Sensei gets his channel back at least, you know, because this and honestly, in all fronts, fucking ridiculous. And YouTube just really needs to make sure to like at least give like people a warning, you know, because like not everyone is guilty on the spot, you know, like it's this whole mentality of like guilty until proven innocent. And even when you're proven innocent, this whole mentality of oh, it's too late, the deed's already been done. It's just fucking ridiculous, because this is like people's livelihoods you're putting at stake here. It's absolutely insane that people, innocent people like this, have to run into problems like this all the goddamn time because YouTube's system doesn't know what it actually wants to do. So yeah, that was just a video where I wanted to highlight that. Again, you know, he has a video up right here called Illustration Advice 118. This guy made 118 videos of just this type of illustration advice video. All gone. So if you want to go check it out, then again, I've left the link to his second channel in the description below, so go give him your support. And let me know what you guys think about this story down in the comments.
Yeah,
and thanks for watching. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smack my face right here to subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making big channel number go bigger over here next to my head. A couple more videos you can check out if you enjoyed this one, and the links to my social media, as well as my YouTube shorts and TikTok pages, and my Patreon if you'd like to support me directly, all down in the description below. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.
All right. It's your boy at the beginning and peace at the end. What a good guy. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about this, okay? Overall, I think the guy, it was a massive fuck up to have like a public Google Drive where people could upload stuff into it. And I think that he should just literally never do that again. I mean, it was naive to do that. It was stupid. I also don't think that he should be held responsible for what somebody else does on Google Drive, because he doesn't own Google Drive. Google does. Google is responsible for it, not him. So I think it's kind of unfair for his YouTube channel to get banned for something that he didn't even do on Google Drive. I would understand a suspension or something like that. I think that would be fair. But to just outright delete it completely, I think is completely overkill. I don't see the reason for that. I don't think does this make the world a better place? No. Does this protect children? No. Does this improve the website? No. There's literally nobody who wins in this situation, so why go through with it? Did the person make a mistake? Yes. But is the real person who committed a crime even him? No, it was somebody completely different. It's completely unfair for that to happen. And you're not on Twitch, but you're still responsible for your channel moderation, so it tracks his policy. Well, you are, but you're not. So, for example, like a lot of times on YouTube, there's like a lot of scam accounts. So, like, would it be fair if somebody posted a comment on your YouTube channel and it was like a scam, or it was like some link to like fucking CP or something like that? And like then you get banned because somebody else posts a link on your channel as a comment. I think the answer to that would be fucking absolutely not. That would be ridiculous. So like, why is it his problem with the Google Drive? Now technically he owns the Google Drive, but I mean technically he doesn't own either one of them. They're rented from YouTube. So Could he sue Google in Japan for deletion of his property? I don't know what Japanese laws are. I think that a lot of these companies need to have a little bit more accountability for this kind of stuff. I don't think this is beneficial for anyone, that a company can just simply delete somebody's career like this with no recourse. I think also it's a lot different than something like working for an actual company, because you're providing a service to the company. I think this is like, if you are working through YouTube, you are not really providing a service to YouTube, you're providing a service to other people through YouTube. And ultimately, I feel like, again, it just benefits nobody to ban this guy. There's no winner here. There's, you know, you could make a point that, like, yeah, it was stupid to do this, but I think that if you want to blame this on him and, like, really say that he needs to stick with his punishment, I feel like it's just so deliberately obtuse that it's punitive in no productive way. Like, there's no productive way that this makes the website, the community, his life, YouTube's life, anybody's life better. So that's what I think. Twitch has future, lets you invite a viewer to your stream. If they break TOS, they get the punishment, not you. Yeah, exactly. And so if Twitch decided to ban them for that, or, you know, like you have Guest Star, for example. Like you have somebody on Guest Star, and then, I know that's what you're talking about. You have somebody on Guest Star, and then they show an ISIS execution video, like fucking next frame, and then you get banned for it. I think that would be kind of unfair. The very minimum, he shouldn't have done it. Has the account leaked to his Google Drive. That's kind of account should be locked the fuck down. Well, I mean, look, you've got to keep in mind that the way people do things over in Japan is a lot different. They have a much more homogenous culture. There's not the same sense of, like, it seems, I've never been to Japan, so I can't really say, but, like, it seems like the culture is not as fucking, like, cutthroat and, like, vitriolic as it is here in the U.S. Yeah, I think it's a much different culture, and he comes from a completely different culture, and somebody took advantage of that maliciously, without his consent, against his consent. He didn't do it. Why ban him? It's outrageous. So yeah, that's what I think. Same happens to you, and some trash gets said on bad things. Yeah, it's like, for example, yeah, the Diablo Immortal thing happened. Absolutely. In USA, everyone's freaked out by minors. Well, I think that that's fair, but I think that also, again, you know, you should try to be accurate in what you're doing and not just, like, make shit up or, you know, like, fighting problems that don't exist. So yeah, I think this is awful. It sucks, and there it is. I mean, I don't even really know what else to say. They have zero tolerance, so what's going to stop anyone else from just saying it wasn't my fault? Well, so I think that in order, so, like, you think that this guy intentionally uploaded something that could have been construed as CP on a VPN, because they can check, by the way, IPs. So, like, if it's the same IP, then, like, yeah, of course you could make that argument. So he went on a fucking second account to upload fucking CP on a VPN, so it wasn't him, onto a Google Drive so other people would see it. Like, that, what the fuck? Like, that is such an insane fucking stretch, man. Yeah, people are doing backflips and gymnastics to fucking explain this and to justify it. I understand that a lot of people are, you know, really against this kind of stuff. I think I am too. I think pretty much everybody is. But the reality is that you should also keep in mind the facts. And every situation is different. And you just shouldn't apply the exact same rule to every single person in every single situation. That's why, for example, even whenever murders happen, there's a court case for it. Everything is not just decided, well, the rule book says this, so this happens. There, you know, you have a fucking an evaluation of this, because nothing in life is this simple. And it absolutely sucks for this guy. I'm really glad this content creator, I've never watched his videos before, at least I don't remember watching his videos. Maybe I watched one of them before, I kind of recognize him. Either way, I'm glad that, you know, he speaks Japanese, it seems, and he's able to give us some insight into it. Yeah, I'm really glad to see this. Absolutely. Just be outraged keyboard warriors? Yeah. Joey the anime man. Yep, I've seen. Yep, absolutely. Holy shit, I knew I recognized him. Holy fuck. Yeah, there we go. That's exactly how it's decided on YouTube. I've always been of the outlook that I don't think that YouTube should be able to just completely ban people, especially not people that make a living on YouTube. I don't think that's fair, and I also don't think that's beneficial. I think that, in general, every single application and every single company that exists in, that exists to serve the public must serve the public. And I do not think that being able to randomly remove somebody's job with no recourse is serving the public. So I absolutely think this kind of stuff should be taken seriously on a governmental level. Yeah, it's just outrageous that people are okay with that. Not his main job, though. Well, okay, what if it was? When you say YouTube has the right to ban, just like any other business has the right to fire an employee? No, I don't, actually. I think it's that, number one, you're wrong on your premise. You cannot fire an employee for any reason. There's a lot of reasons that you can't fire employees. So, like, number one, that's not true. Number two, also, like, you can sue for wrongful termination. That happens all the time. And right to work states, that's also still not true. That is still not true. Please educate yourself. Please look it up. So that's also not true. Also, the third reason is that they are not necessarily, they are employing him, but he doesn't necessarily work for them in the same type of a relationship that, let's say, a McDonald's employee works for McDonald's. Like, effectively, he's using YouTube to do business, which I think is very different than working directly for YouTube. I think these are two very different things. They contract him, yes. And so anyway, there's still laws that prevent discrimination. Yeah, I know that. And technically, there are contractors, which actually carries less protections in most places. It does less, but less is not none. And also, I don't think that's always a good thing. So yeah, even in Texas, there are a couple people we can't fire for just no reason. Companies will find anything, even being late a few minutes. Oh, absolutely. But again, I think that companies that do that kind of stuff, again, companies should exist for the benefit of the public. If a company exists in a country without the benefit of the public, why does it exist? If it's not providing value to the public, why does this exist? I don't think it should be able to. If it's ultimately parasitic. Money? Well, then that's value. Did you see the Cash App creator has been murdered? No, I did not see that, actually. Yeah, that's awful. Holy shit. Wow. TOS, that what can and cannot be done, it's your responsibility to make sure those rules don't get broken. Yours? I don't agree that YouTube should be able to just write off every responsibility to the content creator and say that anything that you do wrong is, or anything that happens on your platform is automatically your fault. I don't agree with that. And I think also, like, just because the TOS says something, it doesn't really matter to me. Like, why would I care about what the TOS of some website says? Some loser in San Francisco wrote this. It's not like this was preordained by God. This wasn't decided by a vote. It's just some guy wrote this stuff down. Like, I don't care what their terms of service are. Why the fuck would I give a shit about what their terms of service are? Yeah, it's nuts. No, what I meant was money from them and self-interest that badly affects local communities, especially in third world countries. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Being contrarian for the sake of being contrarian? Well, I don't know. I think that people, everybody always wants to have a stupid opinion. But overall, yeah, I think this guy should get unbanned. He should never fucking let people use his Google Drive again. Holy fuck. And then also, you know what I think they should do? If Google's so sure this is a depiction of fucking kids, maybe they should talk to the authorities and give them the IP addresses of the people that uploaded the photo, rather than just banning this guy and calling it a day. Oh, wow, we did so great. No, you fucking didn't. Fix your YouTube comments that have constant scams in them, one after another, and then I will think that you even have a fraction of the time to give a fuck about this that you pretend to. Twitch hypocrisy development. What's this?
I've set the t-shirt to dark mode, which means it's time to go full throttle into the danger zone. No more granny shifting. We're gonna talk about a controversial topic: Fansly advertisements on Twitch. This is actually a war that I've been drafted into and tossed into the front lines, so I've been catching fire and getting called out, labeled a hypocrite and morally flexible when it comes to things my friends do that I call others out for. So I kind of want to talk about this entire subject here because I feel that it's just a load of dirty barnacles to call me hypocritical when it comes to Fansly advertisements. So allow me to show you to your table and deliver your entree of drama that you've ordered. So, the situation in a nutshell. A couple weeks ago, there was the Streamer Awards that happened on Twitch.
I saw that. I was in that.
I attend them in person, so I received permission from QT Cinderella to watch party them.
Yeah.
This was a massive event that QT Cinderella put together.
How he says QT, man. Oh my god. I don't know why. It just fucking...
One of the advertisers for it, one of the sponsors, was Fansly.
Yeah.
So during the stream, a Fansly advertisement popped up, and this was my reaction to it.
A free trial of some of our hottest creators. On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content and creators through the Fansly For You feature.
Wow.
Swipe and discover today.
A very tame giggle, as if someone came up and playfully tickled me for a moment.
Yeah.
And people were upset because I didn't start spitting and shitting, taking up
shitting
arms
all over
about
it, yeah.
how disgusting it was that Fansly was being advertised on this broadcast here. Reason being is because prior I had made a video talking about a couple of things. One of them was Aiden Ross when he showed porn to his audience. My statement was that Aiden Ross went on Pornhub in front of his audience, which a lot of them are kids on the younger side of things. So I said that was weird. That was a weird thing to do. So when I giggled during the Fansly segment, it was used as a smoking gun to call out and attack me for being a hypocrite, because it's the same principle. Fansly was just shown on stream to an audience that undoubtedly...
Yeah, I think they're about the same, personally. I think that, you know, advertising a website that does porn isn't really that much different than advertising porn. Like, it's pretty much the same thing. Like, is it exactly the same thing? No. Is what Aiden Ross did a little bit worse? Yes. But they're both on the same spectrum, which is showing porn to people. That's what it comes down to. Aiden didn't advertise porn, he showed it? Yeah, well, it's just like, I mean, showing porn, directing people to porn, whatever it is. Whatever you want to call it.
Had kids watching. How is that
The advert doesn't show non-sexual content? Yeah, I mean, like, but like, what if you go to the website though? Like an advertisement, for example, like an advertisement for Cabela's, all right? If you go to the website, I'm pretty sure you can't find porn on that website. There's like no porn on the website. You go to an advertisement for, I don't know, like a makeup thing. There's probably no porn on that. Like, Fansly is a porn site. That's what it is. It's great. But that's what it is. Come on. Advertising cigarettes versus smoking is a big difference. I don't, yeah, but like if somebody was advertising cigarettes to kids, I don't think people would be a big fan of that either. But I do think that overall, I mean, I don't think Aiden Ross is like special with like any of this, because like, yeah, kids watch Aiden Ross, but you have a viewership of like more than like a few hundred people. What are the odds that like somebody who's underage is going to be watching? I feel like it's like extremely high. The best that I think content creators can do is to just make it to where their platform, if they're going to show anything that could be NSFW, or like sexual, it's just make it to where you have to click a button to say that you're 18. Like, I feel like if you have to do that, that's the same thing that porn websites ask you to do. That's basically enough for me. Like, it's still kind of weird to try and show people porn on a stream. Like, I think it's weird just fundamentally. But overall, I think that's really all you have to do.
Different than Aiden Ross going on Pornhub. Charlie is a fucking hypocrite. He called it out for Aiden Ross, but doesn't do it when it's his friend QT Cinderella.
Yeah.
When I first heard this argument, I thought it was just a bunch of fish paste. I thought it was being used satirically, because it didn't even compute that people would try to compare these two things. Going on an actual legitimate Pornhub out of nowhere in front of your audience and just having porn, real porn being played, versus an advertisement, which does lead to porn, but the advertisement itself has more clothes on than a lot of things that are already freely broadcast on Twitch that are easily accessible.
Well, I wonder, like, because the thing is, to me, right, it's that if you had an advertisement for cigarettes, for example, like, would people like that? Would people think that's okay? Like, let's say you had an advertisement for, like, kids, like, to smoke cigarettes. I think this would be bad, especially if the advertisement was following like a Mario Kart commercial. And you have to keep in mind that, like, it's not like this was Google AdSense or whatever. This was planned programming. So, definitely what Aiden Ross, again, what he did was definitely worse, but I feel like advertising Fansly is kind of the same thing, and I don't even think it's a problem. By the way, I want to make sure one thing is very clear. I have no problem with people getting Fansly sponsors, okay? I think it's totally fucking fine. It's great. They pay you money. You advertise the stuff. That's it. I think it's totally fucking fine. But I do think that it is a gateway to porn. Call it what it is. And it's a direct gateway. It's not like a fucking anything else. It's a direct gateway.
I didn't think these two things deserved to be on the same playing field, but that's where I was wrong. I clearly failed the CAPTCHA here and was labeled a bot, because a lot of people do view these in the same category, in the same wheelhouse. A YouTuber named MewKitty made a whole video on it talking about Twitch streamers and their hypocrisy. A video that I make an appearance in towards the end. And it's exactly what I just talked about, where I said it was weird when Aiden Ross pulled up Pornhub, but I laughed when Fansly was a sponsor of the Streamer Awards. Yeah. And not long after her video, Scott Schaefer made content covering the same topic, where, once again, the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 superstar Charles White comes into the frame once again with another banger cameo. And the argument is the same. Charlie called it out when Aiden Ross pulled up real porn, but didn't call it out when QT Cinderella advertised porn. And he did it because she's his friend, thus he is a hypocrite. And on stream I talked about this last night, and I'll go ahead and get this out of the way right away. During that stream, and in the exact same video MewKitty has posted on one of her channels, I outright say both are bad. It's pretty clear from reading her comments, not like...
Yeah, so he thinks the same way that I do. Like, yeah, okay, there it is. Yeah, they're both bad. Like, there's a spectrum of them being bad, but they're both bad. I just don't think one of them matters.
Her personal comments, but like the audience comments, that the majority of the people didn't even watch the full statement, which isn't her fault, and I even don't blame the audience, because right now the human race is being plagued by brain rot, parasite, short-form content, which has ruined the attention span of people. So I don't...
Well, I think also people like feeling smarter than streamers. So the idea that streamers are hypocrites and you can see through them is very appealing. And if people get enough evidence to believe that, they're going to stop looking for more evidence that maybe they could be wrong. they're gonna stop right there, and they're okay. That's good. I'm happy. Now let's move on. And I always think this kind of stuff is silly because personally, I feel like, yeah, sure, these things are different, but everybody acts different around their friends. I just, again, to me, I don't really, whenever somebody says that they believe in something or anything like that, I don't believe them. I'm like, yes, you will think this until it's beneficial not to. Like, I usually just assume that people will go back on whatever they think if it's beneficial to do so. And I think usually I'm right. But on the internet, this is like a very big point of contention, and a lot of people are like hyper fixated on this, and I find it to be very annoying. I do things that are hypocritical all the time. I'm not sorry. And really, it's not that for me it's hypocritical. It's that my, at the top of my pyramid of goals is self-benefit. And if something is beneficial for me, I'll do it, even if I said that you shouldn't do it, because it's better for me to do it than not do it. It's just that simple, really. Yeah, that's really all there is to it.
I necessarily find it shocking that they didn't watch all 10 minutes of what I was saying. But in that clip, I outright say both can be bad, but they are not the same to me. Thus, I disagree that it's hypocritical that I made statements about Aiden Ross and the porn thing being really weird, and I didn't make the exact same statements for QT Cinderella's Fansly sponsor.
I think you can, if you want to get into the legal speak here, yeah, definitely it's not the exact same. Of course it isn't.
I'll go ahead and prove that it's there right now, real quick, before getting into why I think they're so different, but ultimately both are not a great thing to be advertising to an audience that is undoubtedly going to have children watching. Of course, advertising Fansly, OnlyFans, or anything in front of an audience that has younger children on it, it's always going to be not a great decision. It's one of those things, yeah. Now let's make like an egg and hard boil this subject real quick.
So... And this is, I think, the problem with videos like this, like the Moo Kitty video and other ones that are similar to this, is that they intentionally ignore context in order to create a false narrative. It's the same thing that everybody accuses like CNN or Fox News of doing. Well, like these individual creators do the exact same thing, where they say something and then they're like, yeah, this is exactly like what it is, and like here's the story, and it just makes somebody look bad, and it's like, it is intentionally disingenuous, or it's disingenuous to the point to where you should have done better research and it makes people look bad. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I hate that stuff.
Quick. So, the difference between Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub and QT Cinderella bringing up a Fansly sponsor is very clear right off rip. If all of you in the classroom right now have your thinking caps on, you'll notice a huge difference. I was able to play the entire Fansly ad as it aired because they are all clothed. You are not getting immediate nudity or pornographic content. It is an advertisement for pornographic content going to the website, yes, but unlike Aiden Ross's moments with real Pornhub just being their actual fucking full-blown porn, you got pussy tip.
I kind of don't want to Google FCC guidelines for showing kids porn. Like, I don't really want that to be on my search history. But I wonder exactly what the rules would be. Because in my mind, I don't think it's that big of a difference. Like, I don't know. I really am not sure. But I couldn't imagine if you went to, let's say, Toys R Us and you put up Fansly ads, could they sue you? I don't know. I couldn't see why not. I feel like that's advertising porn to kids. How's it not? Toys R Us is gone now. I guess, wherever else kids go nowadays. I don't know. So, and like, I don't really know what the actual rules are. Did Aiden have 18 plus on his stream? He did. People who watched Aiden Ross's stream had to confirm that they were 18. And that same thing, like, that's the same gate that most porn websites have. And to be honest, a lot of porn websites don't have that. There's plenty of porn websites that don't have that gate. Streamer Awards 18 plus? No, they didn't.
It's everything all right there immediately. That is not what you got with the QT Cinderella Fansly sponsorship. Thus, immediately, those two are already different. Showing the porn to an unsuspecting audience out of fucking nowhere is a lot worse than advertising a service that has porn on it. And that's...
I think that unsuspecting would probably be the case with Fansly as well. I don't think that you could go into... Like, could you go into the Streamer Awards and assume that there would be ads for Fansly? I don't necessarily think that. I feel like if I was going to bet which stream would have porn on it more, I would say Aiden Ross's stream, especially on Kick. I'm pretty sure you can bet that's gonna have something bad. Like, just it's something bad right there. It was literally right after a Mario Kart ad. Yeah. No, and again, like, I don't have a problem, like, I don't have a problem with them doing this at all, but, like, let's just, this is what it is, right? I mean, I don't know. It's what it is. Having porn ads suddenly pop up isn't exactly expected either. Yeah. Nice tits on Twitch as a gateway. Yeah, but, like, the difference with that is that, like, female streamers are explicitly forbidden to promote any sort of like, adult content. So, like, if some girl gets done with her hot tub stream and she says, okay, make sure to follow my OnlyFans if you like what you see, she's gonna get banned. Like, she'll get banned for that. And I understand that there is, again, another distinction. Oh, follow my, you know, look at my link tree, and the link tree has the OnlyFans in it. So it's like, how is that okay? I don't know. I mean, I feel like, like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we playing this game? But it's like, can a streamer, like, so it's like, it opens up other questions, right? Where it's like, can a streamer advertise their Twitter? But if their Twitter has the OnlyFans on it, can they not advertise their Twitter? So, like, it doesn't have to do with link. Do you see how, like, it's very hard to know exactly where to draw the line? I think it's very fair to draw the line at intentionally promoting porn directly on stream. Directly. Like, on the screen. It's on the screen. You can see it on the screen. I think that's, like, let's start there, and then we'll move backwards. I think that's fair.
Something Scott Schaefer does touch on in his video. His is more of a deeper look at the subject, and MewKitties is more memeing with it.
Yeah.
I always thought her content was supposed to be silly and over-the-top trolling, but she does seem genuinely upset at me, and I imagine it's...
I think that a lot of people, and this is the way that a lot of people that do commentary are, is like, they probably hold these opinions, but they make them a joke to an extent. I think that's the way I've kind of, like, grown to experience it. I think that she probably believes it or doesn't like it, but I think also if it was an unpopular opinion, you probably wouldn't see that many videos about it either. Like, a lot of commentary channels try to latch on to popular narratives and then kind of, like, farm them. Like, obviously, like, Charlie does this, I do this, like, everybody does this. But I think the problem is, like, whenever farming something becomes disingenuous.
Because of my statements, and I also did say I'm not the biggest fan of the way she edits her content. I called it Zoomer editing, which sounds...
I mean, like, I just think that she needs to fucking do the audio equalization. It's just, it's bad. Like, that's it. Like, the background music's as loud as she is. It's louder. You can't even hear what she's saying.
Mean-spirited when I really didn't mean it to be.
Yeah.
She edits her videos, like, very chaotic on purpose, where it's a lot of sound effects, you know, like a fucking gong being hit pretty often,
Yeah.
or like really loud blasting music pretty often, and that's just never been my cup of tea. but I never meant it as an insult on her honor. It's just not something that I'm personally a huge fan of, the same way that she doesn't like my content. I didn't mean it to be mean, and I apologize that it may have come across that way. I certainly didn't mean it to. But the whole point of me mentioning this right now is I do want to say that Scott Schaefer did also talk about the difference between playing porn versus advertising the Fansly. He did touch on that. Last night I made the comparison that the Fansly ad actually had more clothing on the people in it than what you would already find on Twitch right now in the hot tubs category, where it is bikinis and very, very revealing clothing. And that is a category that Twitch itself advertises. If you go to Twitch when you're not logged in, a lot of the recommended channels are hot tub streams, so Twitch itself does peddle content that is clearly sexually charged.
Oh, they absolutely do, and most of the girls that do the hot tub streams have OnlyFans or Fansly or sometimes both. That's what it is, and they do the hot tub streams or the ASMR streams, and they use the stream on Twitch as a gateway to getting people to subscribe to OnlyFans or to Fansly. Like, that's how it works. And again, like, those are the rules. Like, I mean, if Twitch doesn't like that, then that's up to them. Like, I'm just saying this is what the rules are. And that's how it works.
My point with this statement was to draw the immediate comparison that this Fansly advertisement wasn't immediately exposing young viewers to sexually explicit material, and it's even more easily accessible for them on Twitch already by just going to the category right next to the fucking Just Chatting one. That was the whole point of that. That's something XQC didn't quite understand, calling me wrong, saying that there's not a bleached butthole right away or something on hot tubs category, thus checkmate. Hits me with the scholar's mate.
Well, I think that we can all agree that, like, hot tub streams are not porn to the level that nudity and, like, actual porn is on OnlyFans. Like, they're obviously completely different. Like, one is a girl in a bikini doing things that could be sexually suggestive. The other one is girls intentionally trying to be sexually suggestive and sometimes having sex. Like, I mean, that's fuck. That's completely fucking different. I think it is. Now, obviously, like, and definitely it's true that it's not immediate, and that's why I said that the Aiden Ross thing was worse, is that Aiden Ross did it in an immediate sense, and the Fansly ad does it in an abstract sense. Like, you have to click on the link and then follow the link and then go to the website. So, like, it's a bit harder, but it's still a direct call to action to subscribe to porn on a stream. It's a direct call to action. It's not like it's a, oh, well, you know, like, follow my Twitter and then there's, like, porn on her Twitter or something like that. It's direct.
That wasn't my point. My point was the ad itself didn't contain any explicit imagery or anything high.
Sorry, pause again. Aiden shows legitimate uncensored porn without consent. That's the difference. Well, the people did consent to it, though. They consented to it by clicking that they're over 18 and that they may be subjected to things that are adult in nature. So the consent argument doesn't work. And then also it doesn't work whenever you look at account users, people that are users of Twitch, because that users of Twitch also consent in different ways as well. And I think that users of Twitch do not consent explicitly to seeing sexual content, and especially not if they consent to being over 18. So I don't think the consent argument holds up at all, honestly. I really don't think so. I don't think it's even remotely close.
Sexual, at least nothing that was worse than what is already currently being advertised on Twitch in that category. And when you go to Fansly, there is still...
Well, to be fair, as I said, what is being advertised, which are these girls that are in hot tubs and bikinis, they cannot do a direct call to action. go buy my porn. They cannot do that. If they do, they get banned. Now, this is a difference. It is a small difference. But it is a difference in the same way that the Fansly ad is a small difference from the Aiden Ross thing. I find them all on the same spectrum. I do. I find them all on the same spectrum.
Not immediately ass and titties in your face right away. Thus, I didn't think by scanning the QR code people would immediately just be fucking blasted with porn all over the place like Charles Xavier jacking into Cerebro. So I viewed the advertisement very differently than a lot of people because even when you scan the QR code, you still don't immediately get porn. There's already a lot of degrees of separation and a lot of obstacles to go through, as opposed to Aiden Ross, which just pulled up porn as a jump scare during fucking stream.
Yeah.
Right? It to me, still is very different. I also was under the assumption...
I would also say that that's the exact thing that you could say for Stake, too. Like, you don't immediately start gambling on Stake. You have to make an account, and there's a bunch of barriers to entry with that as well. But people are still not okay with Stake.
That Fansly was only accessible to 18 plus after you verified your age. I don't use the platform. I thought you had to verify you were 18 plus in order to even get to the pornographic content. Thus, I thought it was even harder for children to have got porn out of that advertisement if they weren't of age. Not only would they have had to leave the platform to get it, they would then have to verify their age and make an account for it. I thought there was a lot of steps to it, making it very difficult for them. But according to some research now, it actually seems like Fansly is extremely easily accessible for anyone of any age. There's not a whole lot of security to it based on the things I've read, which is knowledge I didn't have last night. So, I made the comparison that the Fansly advertisement reminded me of all of the strip club billboards that are spaced around all of the major interstates.
Yeah.
Anytime I go up north to Pennsylvania, there is hundreds of strip clubs being advertised.
We have
and on
those
those
too.
advertisements, there are women in bikinis and very, very revealing lingerie.
Yes.
And they tell you exactly where to go for the strip club. Well, when you're driving through, there's a good chance a lot of those cars are going to have kids in it and see those advertisements. So I compared Fansly to a strip club billboard because, in principle, if Fansly worked the way I thought it did, where you had to be 18 years or older to enter, it's kind of like a strip club advertisement because a kid could see that but still couldn't access the content because the strip club would obviously turn them away.
Yeah.
Ideally, assuming you're not going to some kind of fucking shady, corrupt strip club. And I thought Fansly was the same way. But apparently that's not the case, so that...
Well, there's always going to be ways to get through. I mean, like, it's the same as... Like, if you see some girl has an OnlyFans, like, you just Google it, and you're going to have some images and leaks. Like, that's just how it is. Like, girls go through a lot of links to get these things removed, but they get posted back up, too. So, like, if you start having a conversation about it, I think that it's very much a gateway for that exact thing.
A comparison doesn't work anymore, and I recognize that now. And I also made the comparison to the old GoDaddy commercials, which were highly sexualized content that was broadcast during, like, Super Bowl, during sporting events, where it was things like a girl with huge honkers.
Those were great.
You know, her straps, like, breaking off, and, like, she's in a courtroom, and, like, judges going, hubba, hubba, hubba. And then, like, she's trying to say something, and the other strap's, like, wiggling. And then it's, like, right when it breaks off and about to reveal the giant milkers, it says go to GoDaddy.com to finish it. Yeah. And I wasn't really making a big point out of that. I just wanted to point out that, man, it really does feel like the early 2000s again with a lot of the internet arguments we get into these days. It's shit we've had for years. History really does kind of repeat itself. Because I do still think that's a pretty fair comparison. That's fundamentally like the same thing. The argument back then was, think of the children. They were watching this sport, and then all of a sudden, sexual content advertisement. So that's all I was really saying with that one. But yeah, in closing, I feel like there is no real good faith argument to be made that I'm hypocritical because I called Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub weird and didn't immediately start calling out how weird it was for Fansly to be a sponsor of the Streamer Awards.
Well, because, yeah, he said that was weird, too. So, like, it's not hypocritical. But it not being hypocritical doesn't make losers on the internet feel smart, so nobody's going to be talking about that. That's just how these things go.
Being wharf master of a busy port like Ratchet, I keep my finger on the pulse of information. I know all about the exchange of goods and money between here and Booty Bay. The latest bit of news I've heard is about the venture company's Boulder Lode mine, northeast of the Sludge Fen. One of the miners discovered an emerald the size of your fist. I know a few buyers who'd be interested in getting their hands on something like that, and I'd be willing to go half and half on its sale. Being wharf master of a busy port like Ratchet, I keep my finger on the pulse of information. I know all about the exchange of goods and money between here and Booty Bay. The latest bit of news I've heard is about the venture company's Boulder Lode mine, northeast of the Sludge Fen. One of the miners discovered an emerald the size of your fist. I know a few buyers who'd be interested in getting their hands on something like that, and I'd be willing to go half and half on its sale.
Ah, I see you've been busy lurking in the grasses and hunting prowlers. Do you think then it is time to face a champion among them? White Mist, Iyayaki, and the Tauren tongue is the